where there's a will, there's a way. And
Yeah.
so sometimes it's knowing what questions to ask.
Hey everybody, Sean here. Happy New Year. Hope you have all had an amazing so far start to 2026. As I said before, I am Sean Walker.
And I'm Justice Roberts.
And we are excited that you're here. Justice, how's your New Year been so far?
It's off to the races. We are making great progress on our goals, and I'm excited to get after it. After a lot of time with family, it's time to get after it this year and start helping our clients and our partners. So it's been a great start to the year.
Awesome. Your Christmas card was top 5, just so you know, on our page.
I appreciate
top 5
it.
Christmas card. It was good. It was good. We don't rank the top 5 because that's a debate. But you got the person that sends you a picture of their trip in Hawaii as their Christmas card, and then you've got full pajamas, and that's the spectrum that we rate Christmas cards. So yours was a top 5 Christmas card. So
we went full pajamas, so I'm glad to be on that side of the coin.
We've got an interesting topic for the old podcast today, and it's actually one that we've been hearing a little bit about from agents. And so I thought, let's touch on this. So for those of you who are considering jumping into the home buying arena, this is going to be awesome information for you. If you're an agent and you are structuring some deals together, this is going to be great information for you. Today, we are going to talk about loans falling apart in escrow or even prior to escrow. How do we do it, or how are we seeing it? Why are we seeing it, and how do we avoid it? So JR, are you ready?
I'm ready. This is a great topic. Okay. I'm excited to dive into it.
All right. Well, okay. So from your experience, what are the most common reasons that we see loans fall out of escrow?
I'd say there are certainly a few commonalities, but the number one for me that I see, and as we've been kind of a rescue lender for many loans over the years, I'd say most commonly it all comes back to debt to income or income on a loan application. And what's so unique is that it's very difficult for a lender to take, or for an agent to forecast, because they don't get to have a window into that. And it's hard for a client because equally, like, they've sent in their pay stubs and their bank statements and their W-2s and all of this sort of stuff. And how that all gets calculated on the back end, usually they're not privy to how things are put together. So usually it's, your income versus your expenses. And what does that look like? Your debt to income ratio. So I'd say that's what's most common.
Okay. What would you say? So at what point do you see in the process, they've signed the contracts, they're running down, appraisals are happening, all these things are happening. At what point do you kind of start to see, as an originator, the wheels are starting to get a little bit shaky here? What part in that loan process do you normally see that?
I would say for loans that are falling apart, typically it's going to fall apart at the underwriting stage. And typically why this is the case in the depending on who the lender is a lot of times a loan officer will be having a verbal conversation with a client. They go, hey, how much do you make? Oh, you make X amount. I'm going to put that down on an application. I might get a pay stub that I halfway look at, and it goes to kind of confirm what that looks like. And then once we get verification of employment, once income calculation forms start to get filled out, once the loan actually has to get submitted to the underwriter, it starts to come off the wheels there. Or maybe depending on a structure, it gets sent into underwriting one form or fashion, and then an underwriter is actually looking at it and going like, where'd you come up with this? Like you said they made $100,000 a year, and I'm coming up with like 60. I don't know how that actually works. So, I mean, I'd say that at that stage in the process, which at least for us and our perfect loan process, as we like to coin a phrase, we like to get our loan in and out of underwriting in the first week of escrow, which means we're in, we're out, and if there's any questions or concerns, that gets addressed early in the process.
Yeah. So two things that you touched on. So one, I want to touch on the rescue lender point, but then also I want to touch on first. So, and you kind of said it, the perfect loan process. How do we recognize and kind of do those things up front? What are some specific things that can be done up front so that you are having that perfect loan process and you can avoid those mistakes? What would be just a couple of quick things that it would be like, if you did this, your chance of not having a fire at the end is going to be, exponentially higher?
I would say from a consumer perspective is actually having a conversation with the lender to ask them what their process is. And I could tell you from our side of things, I do not like having issues with underwriting, and underwriters are our favorite. They're our friends because we do
Right.
such a great job
Right.
lining things up. I'm not throwing anything up against a wall to see if it sticks. And
Right.
it's understanding what is your process for verifying the documentation that I'm sending you. And if you don't get great answers and you get a lot of
Right.
ahs and ums and like somebody dancing around, then
Right.
I think that's where you're going to run into issues. Where if you have someone who has completely dialed things in, and sometimes, like, I will tell you, I'm not an underwriter, but
Right.
I can tell you that I know how to go. Hey, if I put my stamp of, hey, this is good, it's
Yeah.
good, it's
Yeah.
going through.
Yeah.
And if not, then I'm going to tell you, hey, we're going to see how this is going to go. I need to get it into underwriting first so that we can confirm this. And I think that consumers or agents really just don't know that they can ask that question, don't
Yeah.
know that they can actually uh, kind of take it to that next step and go, okay,
Right.
I know that you said I'm pre-qualified or I'm pre-approved, but like, hey, what does that actually mean? Like, what's your
Right.
process for
Right.
verifying the information that I'm sending you? And I think that all comes back to the planning. It all comes back to the process and how things come together.
Yeah. Preparation is the key. Make sure that you're planned, you're prepared, you're ready to go. Okay, last question. You talked a little bit about rescue loan scenarios. Do you have one that comes to mind that's kind of like your favorite, where it just looked like all that was lost, and we got to enter into the picture?
Well, I get to put on my hero cape, my Justice League cape fairly frequently.
Okay.
I even will advertise with some of our partners, and it's just like, hey, if you've got a loan that falls apart, like, there's no loan that if it can be done, then I can get it done.
Yeah.
And so some of it, I don't know if there's a specific one because we come into it so often, but one that I remember from last year that seemed pretty unique. I dove into the situation with the client, and this one honestly was a debt to income issue. Like, they didn't qualify from a debt to income perspective. And I found, and this is really what's common is it all comes back to the fact finding part of the conversation. And so what questions am I asking? And I found out there was about $1,000 worth of income that was not being fully considered on the application
Wow.
from
Okay.
one of the other parties. And it was like, where there's a will, there's a way. And
Yeah.
so sometimes it's knowing what questions to ask and asking, hey, just to confirm. I'm going to double down
Yeah.
and make sure that, hey, we've looked at absolutely everything.
Yeah.
And then we can isolate what actually our issue is, or we can reverse engineer into how we can make it work.
Yeah.
Once we've fully maxed out, okay, this is the total amount of income and this is the total amount of expenses, then one of the
Right.
two things, like, now we only have one variable to adjust for. Now we just need
Yeah.
to adjust our expenses. Does that mean paying off a debt? Does that mean bringing on a co-signer? Does that mean finding
Yeah.
a different way to structure the loan? But you have to fully identify and ask the right questions. And so I'd say that that's kind of some of my superpower, is just like diving in, asking the questions that maybe are a little bit uncomfortable, or really
Yeah.
just like it's a little hidden. It's like, hey, have
Yeah.
we looked at everything? Because
Yeah.
I just have a belief that if there's a will, there's a way. There's a way to put deals together, and
Yeah.
I've just seen it time and time again that it gives me confidence to step into those types of conversations. So I
Absolutely.
love putting my hero cape on.
It's got to be a good feeling too. It's got to be a good feeling to, kind of be in that position where someone's feeling like this is all is lost. This is their dream home. This is what they absolutely were shooting for. And then to get the news, that dream is in jeopardy. And then to be able to kind of swoop in, so to speak, and go, I think we can help you here. And I think we've got a way to make it work, and, families are having pizza in their new home because someone was able to do something that maybe someone else just wasn't able to do. And so I think that's absolutely awesome. Thank you so much. This was good. Hey, I hope you absolutely enjoyed this episode. Again, we are here every single week, and soon we'll start being here even more than once a week as we start to ramp up some new exciting things that we've got coming in 2026. So really excited for it. Again, Justin, thank you for your time. We will see you next week.
See you next week.